Okay, so I live in the city of Sydney in the essentially artificially intelligent Android controlled inner west section of Sydney, which the centre is where I live, the suburb of Leichhardt. But it's all like controlled by essentially what you'd say anti-life beings in human form. But that's putting it fancy. They're just simply negative human beings, or dead dark spirits as some people might call them. Essentially everything they do is dead dark and negative and anti-life, anti-human. Everything is directed to control or bring down the mood and the happiness or the frequency and vibration of a human being. Because, and I have to speed up here even though I don't want to sound like one of the androids, but that's because they keep cutting the mobile off on me, so I can't make the video. So essentially that's the deception in the end, is that I look like an android while the androids look like the real human beings. And the demigods control the masses, past, present and future. This is a magnificent past one, you know, a singer of the most romantic love songs, but everything that I do just happens on spec. Like it's almost as though I don't plan it or stage it like the demigods, or even like the controllers all over the internet, or even your informants that project out being truth tellers all over the internet. But see, but I just happened to pause it here. Now I've got the phone ringing to stop the video. See, all this is planned or staged because nothing happens by accident. Nothing. That's just to disturb my train of thought. But it's interesting, it's interesting that when I pause, any demigod, whether it be a philosopher, a psychologist, a apparent real human being just informing you about being patrolled and controlled by psychopathic types of human beings, or as they call them, narcissists at the present time. That's the current terminology, but essentially that will just be as human beings use words or wake up to things. But essentially they're a totally different species, and yes, they pretend all sorts of things, and they will project that out. They will tell you, some of them will you know, like when you're in the creative fields, it is so much easier to convince a human being that you are on the same, have the same mind or the same feelings as them. Because like that song of the demigod here that sings it, you know, there's nothing new about a love song, not to a human being. But it's actually foreign to them, even though they sing beautifully about it. They don't actually relate to human connection. They feed off human adoration, worship, you admiring them, respecting them, believing them, trusting them, whatever. All these words I have to use, but it's simply that's the worship form. The God entity wants you to worship it. It wants to be God. It is God of the earth, but it wants to be acknowledged as Almighty God, as they say, which was like happened in what we're told was the beginning story, where the much idolized being of light was shown to have iniquity of admiring itself too much, or what we call now Narcissus fell in love with his own image because everyone else fell in love with its image and believed its own admiration to such an extent that it thought that it should be, more worshipped than its creator even, shall we say, that type of thing. It's a bit like that. But, where was I? Hold on. Oh dear. I wanted to play. It's idol worship for me to even be playing the demigods. That's actually true. Like, I recognize them as influences and therefore indirect controllers of my mind and the human beings, and therefore of Earth, because controlling the human beings' emotions and feelings is how the God entity and